Hello, welcome to Bethel Evangelical Free Church for this morning's lockdown devotional for the 2nd of June 2020 as we enter what we hope will be the last month of lockdown as we see things progressively being relaxed around us, for which we are glad. I'm recording this on YouTube because Facebook seems to be having one of its periodic glitches in that it's not actually transmitting the video. So after much attempting to get my camera to do what I wanted it to do, I realised that the problem's not with the camera, it's with me, it's with Facebook. This morning's reading is from Psalm 103, reading from verse 19. The Lord has established his throne in heaven, and his kingdom rules over all. Bless the Lord, you his angels who excel in strength, who do his word, heeding the voice of his word. Bless the Lord, all you his hosts, you ministers of his who do his pleasure. Bless the Lord, all his works, in all places of his dominions. Bless the Lord, O my soul. And I was directed really this passage thinking on what happened to me on my way in here this morning. I was stopped off at Sainsbury's to get a bit of shopping done, some essentials, bread and milk, and then dropping off a sermon CD with one of our folk. And normally it's a matter of push the CD through the letterbox and go off, but this time he was in his garden doing some gardening, so we had a bit of a chat. And so I arrived here in time to have a young lady who had recently been released from prison, one of these prisoners who was released because of the virus, and she wanted a Bible. So of course I provided her with a Bible. And I thought, well, had it not been for this chain of events, there had been no one here, or I'd have been already inside when she wanted the Bible. And she wouldn't have got it. And then I thought, of course, the reality is that all events in history, all events in the world, we can say this of them, that there's a chain of God's providence. And God is in control. And if we know, and we do know, that God is in control as to whether someone decides to do some gardening this morning or not, as to whether there is somebody there to meet this released prisoner or not, so that you can have a Bible. If God's in control of those things, he is in control of everything, because so many things have to come into play there. God is over all. And it's just one of those great points that we need to return to again and again in times of crisis like this, to say, but God is in control. We're not to fall prey to fears that some sort of evil conspiracy is in control. God is in control. Now, the reality is there are evil conspiracies. I don't think any of these enormous overarching ones that people seem to imagine exist. They seem not to fit with what we know about actual history, but we know that conspiracies exist. The most famous one in terms of British history is surely the gunpowder plot that was foiled on the 5th of November. A plot to detonate gunpowder beneath the House of Lords to kill the government, a decapitation strike. That was a real conspiracy. It failed. But it reminds us that conspiracies exist. And what happened when it was foiled? What did our forefathers think? They thought, whatever happened humanly speaking, that this was the providence of God ultimately that foiled this conspiracy. Because evil men have their evil schemes, and they will seek to do evil things. But the comfort we have is that God is in control. Again, there are also these natural forces that are far beyond human control and human thought, but God is in control of them as well. God rules over all. There's a house in the city of Chester, in one of the rows on Watergate Street, and I think it's Watergate Street, and it's one of the main streets in Chester. And on this house, this old timber framed house, carved the words, "God's providence is mine inheritance." And the story behind this is that this was carved because in a 17th century outbreak of the plague, the Black Death, this was the only house where nobody died. And the pious householder didn't ascribe this to his own actions, his own works, though he had made, no doubt, various precautions himself. He would have been sensible. But he said ultimately it's God's providence that has spared me and my family. And so here we are, this lockdown is winding down. The peak is over, at least for now, and who knows what will happen in the future. God does. And as we look and as we see that things have not been as bad as we thought they might be at times, what do we conclude? We conclude, as Christians, we are to conclude God's providence rules over all, and to God be the glory. Amen. Well, thank you for watching, and may God continue to bless you and keep you at this strange and difficult time. May our hearts be fixed on Him. Amen.